Yeah, he was a talented man. He passed on talent to you guys. You've been there a bunch. Oh, you've been there. I thought it was probably visiting back then. He wasn't even like there. He was outside of there. He was the first time I took care of him. The last few miles of Browns Road. Well, the last one she was like. Don't tip me. Don't tip me.
Your outfit's really Sunday morning, and we'd like you to join us on our very first sing-along song, so you need to stand up, and the words will be right there on the big, beautiful screen for you, and this is I Love Myself the Way I Am.
Always be perfect me, nothing to rearrange. for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley. My name is Reverend Arpad, and I am a staff minister here. Woo! Welcome. Welcome to our spiritual home, our spiritual center. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday or what you thought about yesterday. All those, it doesn't matter. You're welcome here. Before we start a little clam bake today, I would like to talk about the sacred circles. I don't know how many know what the sacred circles are here? Okay? So this is your opportunity to find like-minded people. There are going to be 6 groups of 10 people. You meet in someone's home. You get to talk, you get to converse, you get to share, you get to BS, you get to, oh, sorry, that's not spiritual. Well, spiritual, BS, I don't know. And there are sign-ups at the back of the table. It's for 5 weeks, so everyone in this room can make a commitment for 5 weeks. 5 weeks. That's once a week. Can you do it?
Yes.
Yes!
Oh my goodness. Before you leave, please sign up in the back for the one that resonates with you. So if you don't know which group is the best group, put your hand over it. Feel the energy. Feels good? Sign up. It doesn't feel good? Go to the next one. Okay? Okay. Now we are going to start getting serious. Okay? Here we go. We're going to read our Flames of Faith. The serious music begins. My demeanor changes. Lighting the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by a sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as our practitioner faith lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And now let's center our consciousness and just close our eyes for a second. Take a deep breath and know with me right here and right now that there's only one love. There's one consciousness, there's one energy, and we call that spirit. And also know with me that there is one divine, unique expression that's called you. And you are the magic, you are the love, you are the consciousness in this universe. It is through your expression that the world changes. We are the divine, we are the holy, we are the sacred, we are part of the oneness, the goodness, the lovingness of this universe. And we have a responsibility to make a change. We have a responsibility to make this planet better than the way we found it. We have a responsibility to spread love in all corners. We have a responsibility to do good And we have a responsibility to be the best that we can be because we are those individualized, unique expressions that we call ourselves. And for everyone, I say thank you, God. Thank you for the opportunity to be alive, to be who we are, to make a difference, and to live fully and lovingly. And I release this into the universe knowing it is whole, it is complete, it is done, and so it is. All right. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium Patrick, who will read the affirmation this morning.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's going to show up on the screen and we can read it together, the Declaration of Principles. I believe in God, the one creative intelligence operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe that this perfect spirit operates upon a law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is. And join with me now with the affirmation for today. I calmly and clearly remember the good that is in me and around me, and so it is.
Thank you, Patrick, and please welcome our soloist today, Wade Wooldridge.
Good morning. Good morning. And what a good morning it is. Let me tell you about it. The second I saw it, I knew. I said to myself, aha! I could tell at a glance that it wasn't by chance that we happened to be where we are. From the moment I woke with the lark, we were both of us singing away, and the sky was so blue, I instinctively knew we were in for a wonderful day. As I told you before, when I saw what I saw, I was terribly tempted to say, on a wonderful day like today, I defy any cloud to appear in the sky, dare any raindrop to flop in my eye. On a wonderful day like today, on a wonderful morning like this, when the sun is as big as a yellow balloon, even the sparrows are singing in tune. On a wonderful morning like this, on a morning like this, I could kiss everybody. I'm so full of love and goodwill. Let me say furthermore, I adore everybody. To come and dine, the pleasure's mine, and I will pay the bill. May I take this occasion to say that the whole human race should go down on its knees, show that we're grateful for mornings like these, for the world's in a wonderful way, on a wonderful day, a fantabulous day, on a wonderful day like
That was a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Well, it is a wonderful day. I'm just saying.
We're going to, is my microphone off? Okay, I'll check it while while we're watching something, I'm going to begin by showing you a video that came to me last night. It's via Bonnie Irisman, who did not send it to me. She sent it to Mary Brogdon. So I hope you enjoy. There is one questionable word of language, but you've all heard it before. Okay.
Your capacity to love others is limited only by your capacity to love yourself. I call you are who you've been looking for. Your capacity to love others is limited only by your capacity to love yourself. And that's what inspired this piece of poetry, which I call you are who you've been looking for. You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, I'm so dumb, and I'd say, you're so brilliant. She'd say, I'm so weak, and I'd say, you're so resilient. And when she said, I feel ugly, and I said, you look beautiful, she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly, and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug, and she said, treat yourself like someone you loved. Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough. And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life, you can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for.
That The young man's name is Adam B-A-O, I think B-O-A. Roa, R-O-A. Anyway, brilliant. You can find all sorts of wonderful videos on the internet that are about him and his philosophy. It sounds like his philosophy is our philosophy. There's only one. And I thought it was a really good thing to remind ourselves that this thing that we are is already perfect, whole, complete. And my message,
Maybe use the wireless.
I got a new cable. Okay. Evidently, we need more than a cable.
You need to turn the other one off.
It's on.
There you go.
Okay, let me start again. Hi. My message this morning is spiritual mind treatment is not well-wishing. Is not well-wishing. And what that really means is it's not hoping. It's not petitioning either. Spiritual mind treatment, or the real name of our affirmative prayer, is exactly that. It is not well-wishing. It is not hoping that somehow a distant, separate entity will say yes to our prayers, but rather is indeed a knowingness that it's already so. The perfection is already around us, in us, through us, and as us. So I'll begin with, because when I think about wishes, I think about genies, and so I thought about the story. And this story is about a woman who was in an antique shop, and she bought an old lamp, and she took it home to polish it up, and out comes a genie. And he says, I only have one wish. I'm an old genie. She said, okay, well, what I really, really, really want is peace in the Middle East. And he went, oh, lady, no, they've been at war for thousands of years, over 1,000 years. That's too much to ask me. And she said, okay then, I've been married 3 times. I can never seem to find a good man. I want a man who listens, who is a really good cook, who adores me the way I am, is a good lover, and a great friend. And the genie said, okay, show me the map. Okay, all right, so wishes. When we think wishes, well wishes, evidently, and Reverend Arpad works for Disney, but evidently there's a Disney children's book that's based on the Aladdin movie and books, and this one is about Jasmine. And it starts out with her looking out into the world and looking at this beautiful day. What are we going to do on this beautiful day? She looks out into the world. She says to Aladdin, where are we going to go today, Aladdin? And he says, well, why don't we let Magic Carpet Ride decide where we'll go? Now, we've got 3, right there we have 3 reasons not to well wish. Not to wish, but rather to know. The first one is she's looking outside. She's looking out the window. She's looking outside herself. She isn't aware of the connection of all life and of the presence of God, the presence of Source within her. Second thing, she turns to someone else who might be able to fix her. And then he does the same thing. Well, maybe someone else can decide. I like what Edwene Gaines says about that. She says, if we give up our responsibility and say, oh God, you decide what I'd like, it's kind of like phoning up Sears and saying, Sears, I know you'll send me the right thing. Just send me something I'll like. And that's abrogating our responsibility, because we're conscious beings and we're creating through this one law, this one life. So spiritual mind treatment, why do we call it treatment first and foremost? We call it treatment because it is a process that we establish, we get either for ourselves or for someone else to improve a situation. So if, for instance, I'm feeling ill, I might go to a doctor or a chiropractor and I get a treatment. I might go to a therapist and get a mind treatment, but not a spiritual mind treatment. So that's why it's called spiritual mind treatment, because it's a treatment for our minds, which is our connection with Source. Spiritual mind treatment. And what do we need to know about God and spiritual mind treatment? We need to know, number one, that sometimes we don't see our good. But, you know, we've all been in the fog. And just because it's foggy doesn't mean that things aren't real in front of you. They're there. You just don't see them. So I think about going to Asilomar for years and years and years, and we'd get there, and for most of the week it would be foggy. And then the last day or two it would get sunny and bright and pretty, but it would be foggy. But that didn't mean that we didn't know that the sun was shining. In fact, you only had to get in your car and drive 2 or 3 miles, and there it was, hotter than blazes, and the sun was definitely shining. So it's always there, even when we can't see it. And then the second thing is that since this thing itself created us in its image and likeness, the only thing it could want for itself is good. Good. So there is nothing withholding your good from you except you. And you're the one that gets to decide what good it is that you want. What is it that you decide? So, are we living in the fog? Are we thinking that something's being withheld from us? Or are we aware that this presence and power is moving through us, through our consciousness, and especially through our conscious words, our words and thoughts, and all the time it's responding. Loves us so much that it set us free to choose whatever we want to think, whatever we want to be, and each and every one of us is created in the image and likeness. Every single one of us is as powerful as anyone else, ever. And I believe that Jesus spent his whole life attempting to teach that very thing. Teach that this thing is this thing that he called the Father within is responding. One with, not separate from. One with. So, when do you use spiritual mind treatment? When you're in the fog? When you feel frustrated? When you feel separate? Or when you feel diseased? When you've forgotten who you are?
All the above.
So Adam put it very well. When we forget who we are, and it often comes because we've forgotten that loving ourselves is natural and normal. That being our own best friend is absolutely a spiritual practice. Absolutely a spiritual practice. So, I got my booklet on how to vote this last week, which is exciting to me. It's the first time I've gotten one. And I realized there's sure a lot to read and to decide upon before that election. I'm glad that I got it in advance, so I have time to contemplate and to read the whole thing. I read the first part that gives the pros and cons, But then I look further and, oh my gosh, there are whole arguments on each of these things. How great is that? Do you know how good that is? Do you know how blessed we are to be part of the process to make decisions about our country, about our state, about our cities, to be able to vote, to be in a democracy? One of the shows I'm watching on, I think, Netflix or Amazon is Jack Ryan. And it's it's based on a Tom Clancy novel. It's a pretty violent show because it's set at times in Syria or Afghanistan, but it's also pretty interesting because you see there are places in the world that do not have the freedoms that we have, do not have the ability to make it even be part of a process. So we have. Okay, so when we do spiritual mind treatment, our first thing is to establish what's the reason. Why do we want to have an affirmative prayer, a spiritual mind treatment? So scan yourself for a moment. What are you thinking that either you would like less of in your life or want more of in your life? Anybody have anything they'd like prayer for today? I'm going to pray for something, so shout out.
Freedom.
Financial freedom. Anyone opposed to that? I'm not hearing anything. Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to do spiritual mind treatment for financial freedom. It is not hoping. It is not hoping, it is not wishing, and it's not petitioning. It's not saying, okay, I'll be good enough, and then it's a definite direction to the law of mind. Okay, so what we'll start with is what is the presence, how we are unified with it, and then I will direct that law with some statements, some direct statements about financial freedom. If you disagree with the statements, just let them wash over you. But if you're willing to have more financial freedom, let it come in. Okay. So I take a moment, and in this holy moment of right now, I recognize and know that there is only one power, one mind, that this mind is the divine mind of presence of God, of the thing itself. It is all-knowing, it is everywhere present. It is that mighty moving power that it is without beginning and without end. And it is infinite and eternal love, infinite and eternal prosperity, abundance itself. So knowing that this thing itself is abundance, is prosperity, is freedom, I know that because it is everywhere, I am one with it. I consciously remind myself that everything that is true of Source is true of me to the best of my ability to embrace it, receive it, and accept it as being so. So in this holy moment right now, knowing my oneness with Source, with prosperity, with life itself, I speak this word of power and of truth. I speak it in the first person for each one of us who is open and receptive to a greater experience of financial freedom. And this is what I know is true. I know that God in me is freedom itself. God in me is prosperity itself. Source in me is forever lighting my path, making the way easy and straight. What I know for myself is that I stay out of my own way and I make welcome the greater good that is already mine. I make welcome every aspect of wealth, including health and relationships. But because this prayer is for financial freedom, I make way for an increase in prosperity and financial prosperity greater than ever before. I let go of my limiting beliefs. I know that God isn't mad at anyone. I know that there isn't anything unsavory about any aspect of life itself, including money. I know that money is blessed and a blessing because it is the thing of exchange that we use to accept greater good. So I accept more than ever before. And I know that that more that I accept goes further than it's ever gone before, because life itself is for me. It blesses me in so many ways. So in this holy moment of right now, I'm very, very grateful. I'm grateful because I know that the word that I've spoken is already fulfilled and is already so. I'm simply stating a spiritual truth. And knowing that it is so, my heart just opens in gratitude and thanksgiving. Grateful for this knowledge, grateful for this experience, grateful for Source. I am that I am. I simply then just place this word and take it and place it in the law of mind. I know that the law of mind does what it does and makes it so. And please help me anchor it by saying with me, and so it is. And so no other prayer, I've already prayed. And so I welcome back to the platform, Wade Wooldridge.
Somebody will have to tell the band.
Oh, Ben, if you can hear me. It's okay, this is a ballad, we can start with that.
But what about Dave? Well, then I'll tell, well, I have a moment. I'll tell you, this is a song that wrote itself in my head when Kimberly and I were on vacation in Naples, and I woke up with it like mainly fully formed in my head, and I had to sneak off to the bathroom and type it into my phone so I didn't forget it without waking her. So then I put the rest of it back together when I got back to the States. Way up there in Sagittarius, there is a star too far for us to see. It shares its light with a million other worlds, but not with me. And I could wonder what the sky'd be like if all the stars were in my sight. Instead, I'll love the light from all the stars I can see. Little sun, the world we see is only one of many worlds for us to play. And so I'm grateful for today. Across the sea in Catalonia, there is a girl who we will never know. She shares her smile with 100 of her friends, her face aglow. And I could wonder how my life would go if I could touch 1,000,000,000 souls. Instead, I'll cherish all the good friends that I do know. 'Cause like the diamonds in the sky, this world is full of wonders that can make me cry. Little one, the world of love, it's only one of many worlds for us to play. And so I bless you for today. One spring day, 100 years from now, the moment comes, long after I am gone, when every soul sees the folly of its fears, and peace can dawn. And I could hear the music of the spheres if I could live 1,000 years. Instead, I'll cherish every moment that I live on. Little one, the world now is only one of many worlds for us to play. And so I bless you for today. How I wonder what we are.
We're so blessed by you. Wait, wow. Come on, give me another. What creativity, talent, wrote the song, sings other people's songs. Wow. It's time for us to share our tithes, our gifts, our offerings. So if the stewards would please come forward. We read our prosperity affirmation together, and then a few seconds of silence to feel grateful, and then we follow that by blessed always, and then Diane is going to finish off with something else really lovely. But I need to see it. There we go. Please join me. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say
I can feel with every breath God's love surrounds us here, and I can feel with every breath it's dissolving every fear. The love in here expands to fill our world, so it can be the presence of God's light and love that flows through you and me. I can feel in every heart God's love is beating there. And I know for every soul, God is answering each prayer. The love of God is here to fill our world, so it can be the perfect light of peace for all that shines through you and me. The love in here expands to fill our world, so it can be the presence of God's light and love that flows through you and me.
Those memory pills aren't working too well. It's, well, I keep thinking I've got my mic on, which I do, but it's not working. It's now, I'd like to acknowledge those of you who are in service today or have been in service this week. So if that's you, would you please stand so we can give you a lot of love. All you do. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do anything at all. So the practitioners remain standing. Practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. If you want your life transformed, make an appointment with one of these people. You'll be so happy you did. And the people in service today are Patrick Freeman, Faith Mackey, Kathy Story, and Tony Sparks. No? Oh, Pam Rock. But she's not in the room. So let's acknowledge our practitioners. If you're here for the very first time, we have a gift for you, and all you need to do is indicate that you're here, either by raising your hand or jumping up. Right here. Welcome, welcome. So happy that you joined us. You're being delivered a bag full of gifts and information about our center, and there's a card in there to fill out. So we're going to affirm you. And if you're comfortable, you could stand. It's going to be short, though. So, great. Welcome to our center.
Welcome to our center.
We know that you're a spiritual being.
We know that you're a spiritual being.
And your presence here has blessed us.
And your presence here has blessed us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so it is.
So it is.
Inside that bag, there's a welcome card, and please fill it in and take it to the bookstore. You'll receive another gift. The hint is it's a book, and it'll be great. And now, we do have announcements.
Welcome, adventurers, and prepare yourselves for your quest awaits.
This journey is not for the weak of heart, and you will want to be sure you are committed. Courageous and Confident Connections, our annual commitment program, begins in just 2 weeks. 2 of the sacred circles are closed already, which is wonderful. If you have not yet signed up, you are encouraged to do so today. So go to the back of the room and present the secret handshake and add your name to the scrolls.
You won't want to journey alone, so all are invited to stay for Conscious Connection, where we discuss the ideas you heard in today's service and plan your strategies. It meets from 12 to 12:30 here in the sanctuary. Children will be shepherded elsewhere so that we may speak frankly.
Choose your character wisely. Mage, cleric, warrior, each has its own individual strengths.
Our midweek gathering takes place this Woden's Day in celebration of the autumnal equinox. High Priestess Reverend Patty will convene with her students to discuss what does it mean to be a practitioner today. Attend and learn these ancient secrets.
And experience the rituals and ceremonies for life, love, and healing of body, mind, and spirit each Friday morning at 8 a.m. Chief Clerics Jean and Joyce Stone invite you to the sacred cabal called Coming Home, Awakening to Spirit.
For the mages among you, study hard and continue to level up. Claudia Riley will lead a mastermind group in Spanish beginning on Monday, October 1st from 6:30 to 8:30. She is teaching from the revered John C. Maxwell tome entitled 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Spread the news with one of the flyers in Espanol on the kiosk.
More will be revealed in time, in the weeks ahead. For now, look for clues in the sacred scroll of adventures inside your program.
If you dare! For now, chant with us as we call forth the halflings that await in the next chamber.